Hello, welcome to Tuesday Night Raw Q&A with me, Dr. Andi. Hi, everyone. I hope you can hear me. I hope you can see me. I've got the phone on airplane mode. Let's see. Tish more light. All right. I hope everyone's doing fantastic this Tuesday. I feel a little haggard. I think I look a little haggard. Always does it to me when I'm trying to get out of town, which I'm trying to do first thing tomorrow morning. Just finished packing up all the kids' raw meals for the husband and the dog sitter. Let's see. Let's put those hairs down. They're going to drive me nuts. There we go. Literally just finished. Got everybody out to go potty and hopped on here. So welcome. I'm Dr. Andi Harper. I'm a doctor of chiropractic and a certified animal chiropractor. I've been in practice in the Denver metro area for the past 20 years. And I'm a raw feeder and a big proponent of a species-appropriate diet for our dogs. Hello, Jamele. Hello, Keisha. So who's got questions? It's Q&A. It's Tuesday Night Raw. We're going to talk about raw. We'll talk about anything, really. But would love to hear from any newbies out in the audience that has, some beginner questions. We love beginner questions. Because I'm not a beginner. I forget what it's like to be a beginner. But anybody have any pack news? Pop it in the chat. We'd love to go over it. We'd love to have the community chime in, and all that jazz. Okay. So my OMAD experiment, I don't know if it failed. So 1 meal a day with my dogs. I know so many people that easily transitioned. I can't say I easily transitioned at all. The Doberman did pretty good. There was the one puking. Molly Brown did okay, but there was the puking. Torch did it, and we had a couple biles, but we also have been eating a lot of spring grass. I think Mo was the biggest trooper, and he's my 15-year-old three-legged Jack Russell mix. But I actually felt like the meanest mommy in the world doing that to him. So we're back to 2 meals a day. I loved OMAD. It freed up so much time. It freed up so many dishes. It was so nice. So you could say I failed. You could say I tried something new. It didn't work out. Whatever. I know Torchy's breeder, just transitioned, all of her dogs. She's got, I have 7 or 8 of them, and it's like, hello. How do you get them all to do that without bile? It was just bile. It was just empty stomach bile. But I'm like, I don't want to clean up one more thing, right? Any questions out in the world? I'm because I've been so busy trying to pack and get food prepped. What do we want to talk about tonight? Let's see. Any interesting clients? I'm trying to think. Anybody new and exciting? I'm sorry, Keisha. Her raw attempts with her cats may be a fail as well. Kitties are rough. I've only known a few that just transitioned. This is wonderful, and ate it. I do have another client that she's got 3 kitties. She does a lot of canned still, but one of the cats absolutely loves a salmon blend that she found and will eat frozen raw if it's that. And then one of the other cats won't touch any of it and will only eat the canned. So we've talked about it before, and I'll talk about it again. Kitties should never, ever, 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 ever be fed dry food, ever. And if you can at least transition them off of kibble, dry food into canned, the moisture level, the meat level is much better. Now, when I've looked at canned cat food, I was shocked at how much interesting fillers, interesting vegetables. They don't need any veg. Tapioca starches, corn starches, all kinds of interesting stuff in the food. And some of them were pretty high-end canned products, or at least the perception of, right? And the one that I actually found that I have recommended is it's Akana, and Akana is part of, oh crap. It's not Akana. Akana has like starches and veg in it. It was stuff Jax loved. It was, oh, crummy. Hang on, I gotta look because it's not coming to me. Akana Origin. But it's spelled Orijen. And Origin had like, I think all of their blends just were meat and some processing stuff, but it was really, really good. And it was sold at Petco. It was sold at the big box stores, but some of the other ones were, and this is, looking at that quote unquote level. And, there's some other ones. There's some higher end stuff. All of it's in cans. You are dealing with, aluminum lined with plastic, which if it doesn't have BPA, it has BP, another letter. So, keep that in mind. I don't know if the pouches are any better. Just keep that in mind. I mean, all of our stuff comes in so much plastic that it's hard to get away from these days. Yeah, so the Origin, they might like it for a little while anyway. Yeah. Kitties, kitties, kitties. Let's see. Anything else? Torch is doing awesome. His ears are still cleared up. He hates having them cleaned so much. I haven't even done it, and his ear looks amazing. His poops are good. He's off of all of his digestive enzymes and probiotics for his EPI, if it was ever EPI. I still think I should get that tested, at least, and maybe even for the breeder's knowledge, to know if it's there or not. But he's rocking and rolling. He's actually pretty stout at the moment. Might have to cut back his food. I'm trying. I know. Let me see. Like I said, I'm a little haggard. I'm sorry. This may not be the most riveting live we go through here today. So any questions? Any? Throw them up there. It might give me where I want to go with this. No, Torch is not growing. He's 16 months at this point, and because he's such a little guy with the little legs, he probably stopped growing maybe 10 months ish. Yeah, but he still has his balls. And that's not so much fun. They're kind of stinky. He's kind of like a stinky teenage boy. And so the breeder requests that he doesn't get neutered till he's 2. And with all of his health issues, we did want to leave him intact, but he's just a stinky little boy. Stinky. So, okay, let's see. Oh, we talked about that. Okay, how about a little bit about chiropractic? Actually, at some point, do growing dogs require a little more feed in general, or just go by the weight at any given time? Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, puppies, growing dogs need more food. And raw feeding a puppy it can change on a daily basis. It really can. It can be very challenging, especially if that's your first experience feeding raw. I know people do it. It's not a big, but it can change. Like, gosh, how much were my dogs eating? Well, that's how much Torch was eating. I could probably remember that. So he's been about 11 pounds for a while now, but when he was growing, from the 6 pounds when he came to live with me till then, he was up to 9 ounces a day of raw food. He only was doing 2 meals. He came from the breeder only doing 2 meals. Some puppies do 3 meals. He was, hello, Miss Ashley. He was only doing 2, so I kept him on 2. I did not do 3, much to his chagrin, right? And he was up to 9 ounces. He's now at 5.5 ounces, and I'm just about to drop him to 5 ounces a day. So it's only 2.5 ounces a meal. And so he was up to 4.5, maybe even 5 per meal. So it was almost double when he was growing. And it really was, oh, you're fat. We need to cut you back kind of thing. But when you're raw feeding a large dog, a giant breed dog, and they do these ebbs and flows and they're growing. I mean, sometimes one day they look fat, then 2 days later they look long, and then a few days after that they've grown an inch. It's hard, and when you have that giant breed, getting them on a scale is not always the easiest thing to do without going into the vet, right? So you can't really overfeed a puppy, right? Like, I mean, you can, but it's just a matter of really keeping an eye on their composition and how they're looking and how they're growing. I do like watching puppies grow that are raw fed, because they don't tend to do the really high in the rear and the really, funky in the elbows, or the head's really big. They tend to grow much more symmetrically all over. A lot of puppies, that's they're kind of known for that, like, oh, their butt high right now, or their head's really big right now, or is their head ever going to grow, or and they just kind of do this wonky growing thing that I don't generally see with raw fed puppies. So, and then I think you'll get someone say the complete opposite, right? Like, kibble-fed puppies grow more symmetrically than raw-fed puppies. That's not what I've seen over the years. I've come across a lot of breeders lately that you need to feed kibble for the first year, and then you can go raw because they need the nutrition. And that's a bunch of BS, because there's no nutrition in there. All those vitamins that are listed on that bag are sprayed on. They were, and they're the artificial, they're the synthetic form of them. So they're not whole food. They are made in China. Who knows what else they're filled with? Just because they're sprayed on, because we talked about fillers in my last email, 2 emails ago. Not the one that came out today. The last week's email was fillers, and we focused on maltodextrin. And that actually can be, I know certain vitamins, they'll actually spray the vitamins onto the maltodextrin to bulk up in a powder. So just because they're spraying on synthetic vitamins doesn't mean that it's actually mostly vitamins. It could be mostly fillers. It could be mostly maltodextrin. And a lot of times that stuff doesn't need to be listed on the label. So, and then you're cooking, and it's, you're denaturing everything, and all the protein values are incorrect. And it just goes round and round and round when you feed commercial feed. So it makes no sense. Exactly, Keisha. It makes no sense why you would want to feed kibble for the first year when it's vital for the puppy. Vital. And then you can go raw. What? So just throwing that out there. Hey, Ash, how's the crew today? But we did talk about fillers. I think I sent the video to Keisha, but I took a course a few weeks back, and these two chiropractors were talking about what all those inactive ingredients mean. And they just mentioned them briefly in class, but they had a link to a video. That was pretty eye-opening, and there's really no way around a lot of fillers and very little active components to your supplements. It's a little bit shocking. Crew is better today than yesterday. I got 2 hours of sleep last night. Yeah. I think I got 3.5. Oh, that's a bummer. That's hard. So, any other questions out there about raw feeding? About, I don't know, but that's our focus here. You can always catch me with Dee Dee Mercer Moffat, CEO and president of Raw Dog Food and Company. We have a podcast that goes out every Monday. So we talk about all kinds of things. We haven't covered the fillers in the vitamins yet. But we'll get that one out. I'm not sure when we'll get that one out, but that's every Monday morning, wherever you check out all your podcasts. We're trying to do cute little short ones instead of the longer ones, and that seems to be a lot more fun for us, and hopefully that'll give you like little tidbits that you can catch, throughout your day. Giz struggled to poop all day and got into altercations with cats. Finally pooped at 3:30 a.m. Oh, Gizen is pooping, huh? I don't think we've talked about Giz because I have a Gizmo and Ashley now has a Gizmo. And this Gizmo, this G2, came to us about 6 weeks ago. This is all Ashley's fault. And she'll chime in over here, I'm sure. You can check it out in the chat. He's a 15-year-old, 7-pound Yorkie. And he was at the Foothills Animal Shelter. His owners dropped him off after 9 years. They moved out of state. And at 15, they neutered him. They did a hernia surgery, a pretty interesting hernia surgery. It's not kind of a regular hernia surgery. And I guess the intestines were being strangled by the hernia. So then they did a colonplasty. And so they did all this work on him at 15. And then he was up for adoption. He got all of his vaccinations, including his rabies, that same day. And Ashley and I toddled ourselves down to the shelter, the local shelter, and we adopted G2. And he has so much energy for 15, but we are still struggling with pooping and peeing. We did blood work and urinalysis, and the vet is leaning towards Addison's, and we're still looking at it. But because of that colonplasty, my brain went to, yes, his electrolytes are off. But I don't know how well the colon is working. Hence, we've been struggling with pooping, and the colon is a big component of your electrolyte balance. So we don't know what we all got going on. I mean, who has like massive surgery at 15, when you're this itty bitty 7-pound thing? So we are definitely struggling with our new friend. He's super cute. He has no teeth. His tongue hangs out. His hair is finally growing back in, but he is a hot little mess. He's super friendly. He suffers severely from FOMO, fear of missing out. But he's not been sleeping through the night much lately. So I know Ashley and her husband John have been struggling with that. So we might have to have a little discussion with the little G2 about this and see if we can get him feeling better and see what we can do. If a dog tends to prefer a certain raw meat over another or others, are there any tricks to keep some balance in the mix? Like if they only want beef or fish. Well, you can always just hide a little bit in it. I always think it's funny when people have a flavor that, oh, my dog doesn't like this. Yeah, and there are certain flavors that certain dogs don't like. I mean, I don't like everything either, or I would prefer something else, right? But I'm also not, some owners are just like, oh, do you want it? Or, oh, I'll just throw it out. I'm like, mix a little in with the flavor he does like. Like, we don't throw raw food out around this joint. We're going to use it. And you just do the best you can with rotation. Some dogs make it almost impossible to rotate. And at that point, you just go, well, at least he's eating a raw species appropriate diet. And you can always, I mean, I love Raw Dog Food and Company. I mean, but if you know that they only like beef, maybe it's a matter of going and getting different brands and rotating different brands. So there's different ingredients and different sourcing and different, all that different stuff. I'm not a huge fan of anything retail. Everything retail is super processed at this point, even though it is frozen raw, super processed, full of their fillers are fruits and vegetables, right? Because meat's expensive compared to fruits and vegetables. So their fillers are fruit. And then turn those bags over. Some of your frozen raw, your dehydrated raw, have all the same vitamins resprayed on them like kibbles from China, synthetic, all of that. So you got to look. Not all your frozen raws just have meat and vegetables and whatever the heck I'll say put in it. But some of them have all the synthetic vitamins sprayed back on them. So pay attention to what brands you're getting. But maybe you do that. Maybe you find a butcher in your area that is grinding dog food, but make sure the bone's in it. I used to have a butcher here long before I knew Dee. I think probably even before their company existed. And we fed a lot of chicken at the time. I rarely ever feed chicken these days. But they had chicken and, well, I didn't have all the money, so and it was fine until they stopped grinding the bone in the meat. And then it was just the meat. And I'm like, well, bones were damaging our blades. I'm like, well, yeah, they do that. So it wasn't really raw dog food then. You want the bones ground up. You want the bones in the meat, raw bones in the meat. And that's going to help with your calcium and phosphorus levels, which play into your electrolytes and whole body health. So maybe you find different locations and different sources for that same flavor that your dog likes. I do that actually with my cats. They do get, I just said all that about retail, and I do buy some retail because they love beef. Like they love beef. And they don't like the little, they don't like anything that flies. No turkey, no chicken, no duck, like nothing flies. They want elk, they want venison, they want beef, they like pork, they want big animals. They won't touch fish to save their souls. So I do rotate in different flavors, different protein sources is what it is. It's not flavors, it's protein sources, right? And they love Primal, and they love Steve's pork. And they have a lamb. It's lamb and emu. So I kind of like the novel proteins on that, and they will eat that. So I rotate those in along with all their beef. But I've tried other brands, other tubs. Oh, what was that cat brand? Oh my God, everybody loved it. And the FDA went after them. Um, and they closed down. Oh, they probably had the best cat food on the market, and they were retail. And my cats would eat any of their stuff. And they had nothing resprayed, and they had whole eggs in it, and like and eggshells and bones, and it was amazing. And I cannot think of the name of it, but they did not feel like taking on the FDA, and so they closed down. It was sad, super sad. Do you remember what that company was, Ashley? Can't remember. Oh, I see. Tantrums over the kitties. Yeah. Oh, did I mention G2 is a Yorkie? Yeah. Oh, can't remember it. It may or may not hit me, you guys. I know they're inner Puma, right? Yeah, they don't like big things. Um, it's even funnier when maybe they're extra. They haven't like the last 2 days. They've not really hungry. They're leaving their food. I don't know. It's gotten a little warmer. Maybe I don't know. They do this, right? They're definitely not dogs that eat that amount of ounces every day. And they loved. We had a beef from small batch Ashley gifted us, and they liked that until they didn't. And then I put in their regular beef, and they're like, "Nah, I don't even want to eat that today." But some days they're extra hungry, and I leave the rolls of the dog food, whatever flavors they are, to defrost in the laundry room sink. Sometimes they rip that open and just help themselves, which I think is kind of awesome. They're kind of like doing a little hunting, maybe. That's usually when there's venison in the sink. They really like the venison. All right, Ashley. I guess we gotta like put on our dog training cap and figure this out. I'm glad his peeing has gotten better. But the cats are bigger than him. Oh, he's got to sleep through the night. We gotta work this out. MJ. Do I know MJ? Is that with Grim? She'll answer me. I don't know. Am I thinking of the right person? I have this client. He's beautiful German Shepherd named Grim. I just love his name. Well, he's kind of a hot mess of a German Shepherd, but I still love his name. Yeah, has a shepherd. Yeah, named Grim. Yeah. Oh boy. The simple, any special needs for pregnant pups with raw feeding? The simple answer is yes. Now, I have not done that. I have not researched that. I don't know. I don't know of any repro, that's what they call them here, reproduction veterinarians, repro vets. At first, I'm like, repo? I'm like, who's repoing your car? Like, someone's gonna repo your dog? Like, I heard this term like my first couple years out in practice, and I'm like, what? What are we talking about here? No, it's repro, as in reproduction. Not repo your car. Anyway, reproduction. That's I don't know of any in our area that actually recommend it. Generally they're like, yeah, it's fine, but you better add in kibble. It's fascinating. I think one kind of finally bent for one of my clients, and she fed Ziwi Peak with the raw. And then it was okay. Because Ziwi Peak, actually, if you look at it, and I have it in my pocket. I've used it for treats for, 15 some odd years now. It's got all the vitamins resprayed on it. That's why feeding it as a regular food, it's okay. As a treat, I use it all the time. It's dried meat, green mussels, and then yes, the kibble is resprayed. And so they get a little bit of that. I can't shelter them from everything, but I don't use it as meals, right? And so she was like, okay with that because, the synthetic stuff from China was resprayed on it. So we must be okay. The actual raw meat couldn't possibly provide any of the nutrition. So simply yes, and I couldn't tell you any more than that. Yeah. The problem with the cats is that Scout reacts to his barking by hissing and running, and that there are times she has used her murder mittens. Yes. I love that term, murder mittens, right? Our cats all have murder mittens. They are murderous creatures. Murderous creatures. Anything else? Might be just a short one today, guys. Anybody new out there that has any newbie questions, beginner questions? I shouldn't call them newbie, but beginner questions about raw feeding. I'm not coming up with all my stuff. My head's a little foggy, I gotta say today. Okay. So Dory and Bunny from several weeks ago switched to raw. And she actually fed it, or is it just in the freezer? Because I find people do that. I've got it. I've got the raw food. It's in the freezer. Okay, been feeding for a week. Awesome. And she actually had to put the food out. And was the dog just like so happy, or did the dog go, what is this? Because you can have both reactions. You really can. You can have both the reactions. Some are like, I have been waiting for this my entire life. And some are like, yeah, this isn't my usual carb loading. I like my carb loading. So Bunny's lost some weight too. That's awesome. Pull the carbs. Don't waste your time with weight loss kibbles. You remember the 90s? I remember the 90s. What? Now I'm confused. I thought we were talking about Bunny. And Bunny's not alive? Okay, I'm confused. What was I going to talk about? Shoot. I got confused and it left. All right, folks. On that note, I am just losing so much steam here. I want to apologize for tonight's live to the folks here now and to the folks in the future. Not the most riveting, well put together live, I got to say. Please forgive me. And hopefully there was some little tidbit in here that helped you and your animals out this evening. I am here every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on my YouTube channel, Dr. Andi's World, where it's Tuesday night raw Q&A, where we talk about raw species appropriate diet for your animals and go through any of your questions, roadblocks, bumps in the road that you might have. I think everyone here today is pretty good. Trial and error with our kitties, as always. They are not dogs. If you are in the Denver area, and I still am seeing clients in my private practice for animal chiropractic, and that you can find at animalmagiccare.com. You can get on my email list, animalmagiccare.com. You can do that there too. We're looking at getting some of those emails up as blogs on the website. Keisha is working on that for us. And so we're hoping to get some of the older information up for folks. And then, so I'll be back here next week, whatever that is. Whatever date that, I think it's the 23rd, I think. And then we have another one on the 31st. And then I have a guest host on the 6th. Dana Chick, veterinary cannabis counselor, will be back again. So bring all of your CBD questions. All your CBD questions, bring them. Bombard her. Make her do some homework. It'll be awesome. Let's see. Raw dog food truth podcast with Dee Dee Mercer Moffat every Monday morning. Who knows what we end up talking about? Check that out. And thank you. Thank you for all putting up with me on this one. So grateful. I will be well rested and ready to go next week. Bring your friends. But until then, how much fun can you have with your animals? Bye-bye, folks.